It's time for Kaufman Stigger FAQ.
And welcome back to Wave 3 Listens. I have a very special respect for Marshall Kaufman, not only because of his business, Kaufman and Stigger Injury Lawyers, but because of his mission statement. Part of that is giving back to the community, which is very important to you. Marshall, first of all, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, John.
All right, we get to talk about your mom today, Alberta.
Yeah. Yes.
Alberta. So you have created a scholarship in her honor. In your mother's honor. Before we talk about that scholarship, and if you have a son or daughter who may be eligible for this scholarship, we'll let you know all the details. Before we do, though, a little bit about the person who it is named after, Alberta. Tell me about your mom.
Well, my mom came from Hazard, Kentucky. She grew up with multiple brothers and sisters in a very economically disadvantaged environment. I mean, my grandparents were hardworking people, but they just didn't have a lot. My mother, at 18 years old, moved to Louisville. Didn't know a soul. I got a job, went to what was called secretarial school at the time, and then started working at the time. And then met my father, who at that time was in law school, and they ultimately got married and had a family. So she came from very low income type situation to where she came and worked herself up, and she was always very active and did a lot of good things during her life while we were growing up.
You were telling me she was very generous, very philanthropic before we knew what philanthropic was, right?
She was. I mean, even things such as when I was a child, she was always president of the PTA. And what's really unique and what I have an affinity for WAVE for is in 1970, the Community Chest and WAVE had a Volunteer of the Year award that they would give to an individual who did volunteer work in the community. And she was fortunate enough to win that in 1970, and that was a very happy time in our family, and she was very deserving of that.
Wow, you should be so proud of that, because it's one thing to be successful in business, it's another to give back to the community and to have a giving heart, and you continue that with Kaufman and Stigger Injury Lawyers. Let's talk about the scholarship. Okay, first of all, I want to show you this book. Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority puts this book out. With that being said, there's a number of scholarships. In fact, I'm judging by the thickness, thousands of scholarships, but you have a couple of them representing your business. So as far as your mother's scholarship, what are the criteria, Marshall?
Well, the criteria for that is you have to be a high school senior that intend to follow up your education, post-secondary education in college or community college, or you have to already be a student in a 2- or 4-year college program. And it's a $500 scholarship. We're giving it to 2 different people. Kara and I, this is something we've always wanted to do. We started it last year in my mother's name, and this year we're doing 2 additional ones in her father's name, which is great. And you have to have a 3-point GPA, and you have to do an essay about someone who has impacted your life and how they've positively influenced you to want to go on to school and to further your education. So it's kind of what my mother did for me and Kara's father did for her that's important to us.
Fantastic. I know you have 3 sons. 2 of them are part of the firm.
Yes.
So how proud are they when they're, and I don't know how well she got to know their grandma, how well they got to know their grandmother, but how proud are they that her legacy lives on via this scholarship?
They are, and I tell you who's even more proud is my 90-year-old father, who is still alive. And I showed him this last year and this year, and he got teary-eyed, and it was a nice thing for him to see that.
I love that. Your generosity has always been evident. Look at this picture. Looky there. Boy, that's a good-looking family there. So circa what date are we talking here, Marshall?
1983. You almost put me on the spot. 1983, John. I was a young guy, looked a little different then.
No, you look the same. It looks fantastic. I'm so happy. You know, like I said, a big part of the show is we like to really kind of champion companies that do give back and are philanthropic and do have compassion for the entire community, and you do that. Will that continue to be a part of Kaufman and Stigger moving forward?
It always will, John. And Kara and I, when we started the firm, that was one of the missions that we had, is both in our firm we wanted to be a family atmosphere, and then we wanted to help the community, because the community does a lot for us, and we realize that. Wow. So we want to give back.
I wish your mom were here to see it, because it's quite an honor. I'm so glad that your dad is able to see it. Again, Kaufman and Stigger Injury Lawyers. If you happen to be in an accident, give them a call today. We love companies that give back, entities, law firms that give back to the community, and that is something that is very important to Marshall Kaufman and Kara Stigger. We'll be right back on Wave 3 Listens.